And with that, I am going to hand it off to GC.
Well, I certainly appreciate that gracious introduction. One of the things that a lot of people don't know about Zach is that Zach has a lot of recruiting bona fides himself. So I'm gonna kick it into him a little bit later. I'm gonna loop you in, man. So I certainly appreciate your feedback on everything. Good afternoon, everyone. I know that we are live all around the nation, and I am so excited to talk about building the empire and ruling the campus. I happen to do ODK a little bit late in life. I was finishing up my law degree, but one of the things that I learned was just about the sheer power of ODK, and I just wish that there was so much more I could have did. And I got my Juris Doctor from Florida State University, and I did my undergrad at Florida International University. And the ODKs at both of those places, the circles there were amazing, but there's certainly so much more that I wish I could have done. So I want to tell you a little bit more about what you can do while you're still in your circles to build that empire so you can rule the campus. So when I sent this proposal, I got a lot of questions from the committee. What are you talking about, right? So just, building the empire sounds a real Game of Thrones-ish, right? That's what I've been told. So it's really just about your circle. And this next presentation, I know you guys this is a concurrent session, so there's some other sessions going around. But if you're in this one, it's because you want to breathe new life into your circle. You want to establish a circle that'll thrive, that will have a legacy. And if we're being honest, you want the circle that all other circles will be measured by. You want to be the paradigm. And that's kind of some of the tips that I want to give you all today. And I know you've gotten a lot of information from other presenters. I've sat in on a couple, they're amazing. So this one is particularly about circle development. So if you're sticking with me, and I appreciate it if you do, that's what I'm hoping that you'll take away from this. We got an active chat feature, so feel free if you have questions to throw them in there with Zach. If you want to be anonymous, we can do that too, but certainly want to make sure this is very engaging because each circle is different, right? But let's jump right into it. What are the benefits of building the empire? And that's one of the questions that I struggled with when I was trying to put this presentation together. And I got a 3-year-old son, and him and my wife were running around upstairs, and I just kept thinking, what am I going to talk about? Like, why do I want to tell people to build this empire? What are they supposed to get while they're on campus from building their circle? And then I realized one of the movies that he loves to watch is The Jungle Book, Disney's Jungle Book. And in the live action one of the scenes are the strength of the pack is the wolf, and the strength of the wolf is the pack. And it just jumped out to me because they were listening to it, and I was like, that's it. That's what I want you all. That's why you should build your empire right there in your college campus where you are with your circle. Because to be honest, having practiced law for almost a decade, been a professional for that long, I realized that there are no opportunities quite as unique as being in college. You get a chance to meet just a myriad of people. You get to interact with folks from different countries, different states, different economic backgrounds, different social statuses, different races, different genders. There are so many different opportunities for you to grow and diversify your own understanding of the world and your own understanding of yourself. And that is the power of being in ODK, and that's the power of building your circle. So when you think about everything that's going on campus, you kind of realize that there are a lot of little fiefdoms. The student government, students tend to hang out with student government, right? The students that are active as RAs, they hang out with the housing group. The student athletes hang out with student athletes. And granted, their situation's a little different. My wife was a D1 track star, so she said they had to hang out together because they had to keep working. But everyone is creating this these little fiefdoms on campus, and most of those can't really interact well with the other ones, right? The people that are in D9, Divine 9 Greeks tend to stay with the Divine 9 Greeks, right? But ODK has this unique ability to interact with all of the different fiefdoms and create its own. You all right now at your circle can take the best of the best of the best from every single aspect on campus to build your own organization, to grow it like none other. You can take the best leader in student government. You can take the highest achieving student athlete. You can take the coolest person in Greek life. You can take the funniest RA. You can take the hardest working scholar. And you can bring all those people together to create, honestly, what campus life really should be about. You all, again, can build that circle by which all other circles will be measured. So I have a theory about organizational legacy. One of the things that I've done in my professional capacities is I'm starting to author a book, and it deals with organizational legacy. So I created the theory while researching it, and it's the poet theory. So to me, when I review things, there are roughly 4 unique characteristics of an organization over time, right? That the organization can build. It's people, it's opportunities, it's events, and it's traditions. So right now, I would like to get a little interactive. I would like for you all to think about some of these things right now, but I'm gonna go ahead and explain some, but think about the traditions especially, because I'd love to hear some of the traditions on your campuses. So the people your circle recruits, ultimately, that's the lifeblood of your circle. But if I'm being candid, and I just started working more with the national organization, and Zach could chime in as well, it's the lifeblood of the organization as well. While locally and on campus, it's important to make sure you have the right fit. But these people, all your members, you all graduate and become lifelong members of ODK. And we recruit out of you all. We do our awards based on your membership. We do everything for the members. So having good people that come into your circle is incredibly useful. And honestly, it's the only way that ODK will continue to survive and thrive the way it has for so long. I mean, even the President of the United States is an ODK member. I don't know how many of you knew that. I don't know if there was a little cheat sheet of the top members, but yeah, even the current President of the United States is an ODK member. So the people you bring in, and not just the people that you recruit to actually serve in the circle, but the people that you can recruit from off campus to come in and interact with your circle, whether it's through events or meetings, those individuals, all of that go towards your organizational legacies. Because if you can start bringing in top people that are willing to come in and speak, or willing to come in and give internships and things of that nature, you really are setting yourselves and your circle above and beyond all the other organizations on campus. The more you set yourself apart from the other organizations, the more people will want to be involved with you. In addition to the people, you obviously have the opportunities. Those things dovetail together like none other. Everyone wants to shine. Everyone wants to have the ability to do things. Me, myself, I am a perks guy. My wife taught me that. One of the things I've ultimately learned is that I am always trying to figure out what is a way for me to get the best out of what I have. Those are the opportunities that you can uniquely create when you are a member of a circle. So using the alum, and we'll dive more into this, but using your alum to get special internships that are only available to circle members. Having a data bank of resource guides for circle members that's only available if you're in the circle. Those kind of unique opportunities are the things that people will hear about. They'll be rumored, and then that's kind of what it takes to start building that legacy. You see it in law school for those interested in going to law school. The moot court students, the law review students, they have special outlines that only they get, and that's why they achieve so much and things of that nature. Yep, who knows if it's true, but certainly that folklore is what makes people want to do law review, amongst the other reasons. Then your events. Now, budgetary situations dictate what kind of events you throw in terms of the extravagance. But in terms of the meaning of the events, the depth achieved, the discussions had, that's up to you. Those are things you can do without much fanfare, without much cost. Those are the things that you can uniquely bring. So I seriously encourage every circle to make sure, in addition to fun events, that you have some events that really require introspection, really require deep thought, really require people to be true with themselves. And I'm talking about that deep part of yourself where you can't pretend anymore. That person, if your organization, if your circle can start putting together those types of events on a consistent basis, then you all will be known for that. That will become your legacy. And you see it all the time. A lot of times you see it with the parties. I'm a member of Alpha Phi Alpha, if you couldn't guess. And every time we threw, our summer ice party, everybody went there because they knew that was the place to be, during that time of the year, because we built that legacy around our event. So a lot of people build their legacies around bigger events like parties and things of that nature. You all can still have that niche opportunity to build your events around substance. You can build them around the substantive impact that you can have on campus. And then lastly, traditions. Every school is different, and I'd love to know, and I guess what we'll do, you can go ahead and drop your traditions. If your school has a special tradition, drop your school's tradition. If your circle has a special tradition, I'd really love to highlight that at the end of this presentation. But establishing traditions is one of those things that it brings harmony within, but it also brings intrigue without. So your members will feel closer to one another because they're able to take part in a tradition that, after you started for a long time, it will connect you for generations, right? But people are going to see that. Other people on campus are going to be like, man, what are they doing? That looks cool. We should do things like that. So then you'll start having organizations mimic your organization, which anytime an organization is mimicking you, that just elevates your status as to where you are organizationally. But it'll also cause other people to be more intrigued as to what your circle is doing. And that gives you the prime opportunity to recruit. So that is the poet theory of organizational legacy. Those are the 4 things, in my opinion, that truly lead to any organization. It doesn't matter if it's a for-profit, a nonprofit, the people associated, the opportunities created, the events established, and the traditions made. Those are what really creates an organizational legacy. All right, let's dive into how to build the empire, right? Because that's what we're here for. That's what we're passionate about. You can't do it by yourself. It takes 2 flints to start a fire, assuming you don't have matches and all the other cooler things that you can start a fire with. But it takes 2 flints. And what that really means is you just can't do these kind of things by yourself. You need your organization. So for you all who are representing your circle, but you don't have a lot of other circle members here, I encourage you, I believe this PowerPoint and presentation will be made available to you all. I encourage you all, and not just this one, but all of them, to sit down, think of the presentations that truly affect your organization, and get your circle to engage and watch them over again so you all can harmonize on these things. Because before you can change anything, you have to come to an agreement. Everyone, most of everyone in your circle should come to the agreement that you all want to build from where you are. And when you're saying you want to build from where you are, that is not an admittance that you are dissatisfied with where you are at currently. A lot of people struggle with this portion of it, this agreement to change, because it makes them feel like the rebuttable presumption is that what's currently going on is not done well enough or is not good enough. And that is simply not true. Wanting to continue to grow is the sign of a successful organization that wants to continue to thrive, one that is nimble and is constantly changing with the ever-changing environment around it. That's the only way to continue to grow your organization, period. So first and foremost, everyone has to agree on building this empire. Everyone, in order to agree though, you have to also agree on who you are as a circle. And that oftentimes has been one of the most difficult and challenging conversations. When we get into that mode of reflection, sometimes we don't like exactly what we see. Certainly, I think ODK as a national entity is focused more on diversity now than it ever has been, even though it has always been focused on diversity. but now it's taken an even more prominent stage in the forefront because it's that important. And I encourage you to look at the exact same things for your circle. Now, obviously, diversity, the nomenclature around diversity tends to mean racial diversity. It also can mean gender diversity. But there are so many other mechanisms of diversity out there that go untapped. In ensuring that you have individuals who are differently able, ensuring that you have individuals that come from different places, whether it be countries, whether it be states, whether it's just geographical places within the state that you're in, you know, rural versus, you know, city. All of those things are important to helping your organization gain the picture. So you have to understand who you are, though. You have to understand, okay, are we truly a hodgepodge of all of these different, you know, cultures, or are we a little monolithic? And if you are, that's not, you know, to say that you've done poorly before. That's just to say you have room for growth. You have room to make these changes. So review who you are as an entity, kind of get an understanding of your circle. Who is in it? You know, do you have student athletes that are in your circle? Do you only have members from student government? Are there any, you know, Divine Nine Greeks that are involved? And you know, such a host of all the other individuals on campus, which make campus life so diverse. You know, ensuring that you have all of them represented. Then once you do, you got to start celebrating that uniqueness. That's the beauty of all of it. That's the beauty of building the empire. You have an excuse to do things outside of your norm. Like I said, one of the biggest benefits of being on campus is the ability to interact with so many different people. Unfortunately, when you leave, you tend to get sucked into a routine where you don't often get a chance to break out of it. You go to work, you go home, cycle kind of keeps repeating itself. You never really get a chance to break through and meet different people. You don't often get a chance to experience folks from in great detail from a different career path as yours. You oftentimes you stay in your cycle and you just continue living it. So you got to take advantage of your college campus's opportunities that it avails you to uniqueness. And when you are in front of that uniqueness, celebrate it. Everyone's pathway to success is going to be different. The things that are important to a scholar like Dean's List may not be as important to other people. You want to make sure that you find out what your members are considering successful and make sure that you highlight them for when they achieve that success. That is critical really for any organization. And even if you don't decide you want to build an empire, even if you just stick with exactly who you have in your circle right now, everyone is different. Find out what people consider their successes, celebrate them when they get them. And then you got to start making everyone a recruiter. There is nothing more engaging than when you can look around and you know that you brought a particular viewpoint to a conversation outside of your own. When you know that someone's making a really good, strong point, and you're like, I brought that person in, my recruit. That is such a powerful feeling, and it's something that everyone wants to have. And it's really the thing that will pay off for you as an individual more than anything in ODK. Because when you start making those connections, when you're the bridge between someone not being involved in any group or not understanding the legacy of ODK, and you're the person that introduces them to it, you have a friend for life. You have someone that will vouch for you for life. And let's say their career takes off, as has been the evidence of most people in ODK. You now have, I think it was in, can't remember this, I think Toy Story. You now have a friend in that person. So you want to make sure that you turn every member of your circle into a recruiter, and then you got to keep people engaged. Once you create this empire, you got to continue building it. You got to rule the campus. We'll talk a little bit about that. I have a feeling everyone already knows how they want to rule their campus. Agreeing to make the change, I dived into it a little bit before, but it really should be something that every member has a chance to truly think about. No one should be rushed into the decision. There should be, the executive officers of your circle should establish in the strategic planning mission that is what they want to address. Your advisors should be given the heads up, and everyone should have the opportunity to really spend some time understanding what it is that they want to accomplish with their circle and with their time in their circle. Take your time with this process. It'll make everything more worthwhile, because once you agree, you will truly agree. There's nothing worse than when you have someone who feels forced into a decision or decision making, and they truly aren't exactly where everyone else is. Especially if that's one of your top leaders and one of your potential recruiters. You certainly want to make sure that everyone is comfortable with moving forward. So take your time, but get consensus. Understanding who you are, that one doesn't have to take as much time. I encourage everyone to start doing that right now. Figure out who you are. How many women are in your organization? How many people of color are in your organization? Do you have individuals from outside of the city that your college campus is? And if you're listening and you aren't necessarily focused on, the collegiate aspect of ODK, but you're still in a group that you want to grow, think about your current organization and whether or not it's pulling from all of the best things available in your immediate surroundings. Understand who you are. That is the only way that you can grow. That is the only way you can make a determination of how you can make a change and where you should go with your changes. Understand who you are. That's something I should have even put it first, but you have to know who you are in order to know where you want to go. And then again, celebrate that diversity. Find different ways to highlight your members. I am big into heralding. I am big into most of you all in your circles have Facebook pages or LinkedIn pages. This is a perfect opportunity to celebrate your people. The more you celebrate your people, the more other individuals are going to want to be a part. One, it's good to celebrate people for their successes. We all work so hard, work so diligently, and even though oftentimes the rewards are personal, having someone recognize that, having someone see that in us truly makes everything feel a lot better. It makes the reward that much more palpable. So I encourage you all, when you learn of your members having a successful venture, whether it's they made the dean's list, whether they got a special scholarship, even if they got employed at a particular place, find a way, find a mechanism to highlight that within your organization. And don't just do it just for your org. It's important to do it for your org, but find a way to make sure that outside sources can see that as well, because that could be the tipping point that allows other people to see what ODK is doing, period. There are so many people on campus that may not know exactly what your circle is up to. This could be that little thing that keys them in. They see a story about a person they might know from class. They see what the person did that was successful. They're proud. And then they look and they say, oh, who put this out? ODK. All right, let me learn a little bit about this circle, because when I do something successful, I certainly would like for them to highlight me. All right, we're going to jump into recruiting 101, and then we'll kind of slow it down for a little bit more engagement from you all. So I want you to destroy your avatar and create your archetype. That is normally the opposite advice I tend to give individuals, especially organizational, people that are looking for success. Most of the time it's recruitment, but it's completely different for ODK in my personal and professional opinion. You can't just have the one type of member that would be the best member, because you can find that person. That person does exist on campus, and all you'll do is recruit that person and you'll never grow. That's when you can create your own monolith. And even though it's a monolith of the individuals that would best suit what you deem is best for the circle, it's not a monolith that will help you and launch you into perpetual legacy. So destroy that avatar. Don't think of a soul person. Think of a soul type. Think of individual aspects of any leader that you really want, and then plug and play that in different areas. So for example, don't just think, okay, we want someone in student government that's a junior, that has at least a 3.5, that's graduating from finance. That's way too limited. Even though I'm sure that there's a lot of people you'll find in that demographic, that is limiting your organization from moving forward. Because eventually, like I said, people become the organizational legacy, and if everyone sees that you have to have a 3.5 and do accounting or do finance, then you're going to lose out on everyone else that doesn't fit that mold. So start thinking about your archetype. Start thinking about, we want people that are leaders. We want people that are generally regarded well. We want individuals that have flexibility, and we want people that are fun-loving and will work hard. Start thinking about those type of aspects that you want in your leaders, and that way you can take that archetype and you can apply it to the student athlete. You could apply it to the theater majors. You can take that archetype and you can start giving it to your deans, giving it to your teachers, your professors, and those individuals can help you start recruiting people. But let's jump back into recruiting 101. You got to create your metrics, right? We just talked about that. You got to know who you are. But once you know who you are, you got to make a goal and you got to write it down. So many people in their personal lives will have these dreams every January 1. We all create these New Year goals. We think of what we want to do. I'm guilty of it myself all the time, embarrassingly so. I think about all these different things I want to accomplish. I fail to write them down sometimes. And if I fail to write them down, they become subject to my imagination. They become things that I can mentally manipulate. So maybe I said I was going to lose some weight, but if I'm now thinking about my resolutions and I'm not in the mood and I didn't write it down, maybe I'm saying, I want to stay where I'm at. I've now mentally manipulated what it was that I wanted to be, originally successful at. I've changed it. And if you allow that to happen because of your mood or whatever's going on in your organization at the time, you won't achieve the success that you truly want to set out to achieve. So I encourage you, understand your metrics, write down your goals, and then assign goals to all of the members of your organization. It is so easy to recruit, especially for an organization like ODK. People like to feel elite, and you can accomplish that without being elitist. Very critical. I won't dive into it, but that's something that you want to make sure you know for your campus. So another opportunity for recruiting is starting to bring in guests. Oftentimes, people just don't know. They may know you're in an organization, they know you're in a circle, but they don't know what it means. They don't know the involvement of the circle. You can start setting up your board meetings or your director meeting where the first half of the meeting is just a meet and greet with other individuals. And if you're not talking about confidential matters, which I imagine for the most part you won't be, you can have individuals stay for the entirety of the meeting, get an understanding of ODK, understand what it does, how it operates, who are the players, understand the ideas that you all are kicking around. And that those people may even chime in. They may even find themselves involving themselves in your solution. And then you got a member. You got someone that's going to want to sign up once they're finding themselves to be a part of how you all fix problems. You want to use your lifetime members to create internships, to create opportunities. So many different alum. I think we have over 300,000 current members, right? And that includes collegians as well as graduates. You have all of these people at your disposal. Work with your current staff that work with you, work with the ODK at the national office, figure out the people that graduated from your circle, find a way to bring them back. Oftentimes, young professionals like myself want to give time. Older, more distinguished professionals may have the opportunity to give more. In addition to time, be able to give finances and give their treasure in addition to their talent. So you have just this wealth of opportunities. When you can start creating internships for people, when you can start creating jobs for people, when you can start creating contacts for people, that is when your organization will grow. And then everyone will want to join because everyone will be interested in their own self-invested capital. You got to start weeding those people out. But for the most part, individuals will flock to your organization, they'll flock to your circle because they know what your circle can do for them. So that's certainly what you want to make sure you utilize all of your available resources to bring people back on campus. You can also utilize the resources that are currently on campus. Partner up with another group. Everyone can do it. Find the organizations that work well with your org and just say, hey, we want to do something with you. We want to do something with your organization, whether it's we want to host an event to talk about an issue that your organization is more adept at, whether it's we want to do a big community service project where you can combine, if you have the ideas and they have the people power, you can combine those two things. There are different opportunities to join do joint events and host joint events. And you should consider doing one at least once a month or one every other month. I love to see engagement out of our circles. I certainly want your circle to be way more engaged. And then again, this goes back to the celebration, but you want to post the stories, not just of your members, but of your recent alum. And this ties back into creating opportunities and highlighting people. You start doing those two things, and then more people will know what your circle is doing. They'll know more about your circle, period, because your circle's putting out content. But in addition to that, they'll know more about your members. They may see their own success in those people, which will help them gravitate to that person, but also to your circle. And in addition to that, you'll be able to help highlight one of your members, one of your former members, and help keep them engaged with your circle, which could lead to all kinds of dividends, including the internship opportunities. But maybe someone sponsors a scholarship. Maybe someone hears about a conference and decides, I really want to see my ODK people at that. I'm going to pay for people to go. There are no limits on how you can have alum interact with your org, but you have to kind of find mechanisms to reach out to them first. And that's kind of the top 5 recruiting one-on-ones that I want you guys to remember. But I do want to leave you with making sure you understand how to kind of turn your circle of recruiting. See what I did there? Circle. Anyway, this would have worked live. I'm telling you, it would have been a big hit. Everyone would have been laughing. Half of y'all would have been laughing because other people were laughing, and the other half would have got it. You want to turn your circle into a recruitment center, and I touched on this. There's nothing better than being able to look across the room and see the people that you brought in. Every single person that you bring in, if you start bringing in members the way I'm suggesting, those members will start bringing in people as well from their, let's call it fiefdoms. You want to recruit people's strengths. You want to recruit people out of their strengths. You want to make sure that the individuals that are great at the things that your organization needs are connected. So the people in the communications department, for example, or communications majors, you want to make sure you recruit some of those high achieving folks and tell them about your communication plans. Get them on that. That helps them for their future careers. That helps them stand out. And more than likely, it's relatively easy to them. It's not a burden. They're doing what they love to do. They're doing what they're good at. And because people are doing what they're good at, they will feel good about what they're doing. It's a really phenomenal concept. If you help people that are in education become tutors, they're really going to feel thankful to your organization for allowing them to do the thing that they love, and that will grow your circle. Because you know what those people are going to turn around? Happy members, you know what they do? They recruit other members. They're happy with what your organization is doing for them. They're happy with the circle. I want my circle to continue to grow. I want more people to be in my circle because I know what my circle is doing for me. I know how dynamic my circle is. So if you can get everyone to start recruiting into their strengths, you can have a perpetual cycle of membership where your circle is constantly having the best and the best of what your campus offers. So it's just one of those things. When you think about it in abstract, it sounds easy. But the reality is it takes a level of commitment. It takes a level of deep introspection and understanding of your organization. And then it takes the willpower to just go out there and get it done. So in fact, I want to take a little bit of time right now for all of you leaders in your different circles. I want you to take some time and I want you to write down, and this is assuming they're not with you right now. If they are, put their name. Write down your top 5 members. Let's go 5. Just write down your top 5 members. You don't have to put it in the chat. Write it down on a sheet of paper and then try to define who they are. This person in accounting is a finance person, student government type, student athlete, a Greek person, things like that. Try to create an archetype out of those people. Figure out those top 5 people, figure out their strengths as well. I want you to put that in there. So you create their archetype real quick, create their strengths real quick, and then create what they're currently doing for the organization. See if those things all line up. See if they line up. If they line up, perfect. You now have someone that can go out and recruit more people like them. If they don't line up, consider ways that you can help align their strengths with what they're doing for your circle. So I'm gonna give y'all a couple, we're doing well on time, so I'll give you just a minute or so to do that. And in the meantime, switch to the next slide. Because this partners with what I want for you all for achievable goals, what I want you all to leave here with, tangible things that you can leave with. But I won't jump into it just yet. I want you to continue thinking about your top 5 members, what their archetype is, what their strengths are, and whether or not all of those are aligned. All right, so normally if we were live, I'd have some of you all read them out loud, I'd call you out and make you very uncomfortable, but because we're the benefits and the advent of technology, we're doing this via Zoom, so you guys are safe. But I want you to look at that list, continue concentrating on that list going forward, and really try to implement some of these changes that I'm suggesting and see if your organization can achieve greater change because of them. Create the metrics for your circle. Create them, create them, create them. Write them down. That is something that you all can do. It'll serve you long into your careers. I can't think of a career that doesn't have some strategic planning aspect to it. This could be something that you can perfect in your collegiate life, and that can be something that makes you more desirable to be hired. You can tell a potential employer that you have this skill set, and not only is it in the abstract or learned, it's actually been utilized in this form and fashion. So create the metrics. Go ahead, figure out who you are, how many men, how many women, how many people are from the LGBTQ+ community, how many individuals have racial diversity, ethnic diversity, who's from the city, who's from rural. So many different metrics for diversity. Look at all of them. Look at all of them. Work with your circle to identify these individuals. Figure out if you need to do a survey so people can self-identify for some of these things that you can't figure out easily. Think about majors. Think about just really every aspect of personhood on college campus life, and make sure that you just are writing them down so you have an understanding. And then figure out who you are as a circle. I think each of you can have 4 more events this year. This year might be a little challenging, but I imagine in the fall, you're going to go back. Campus will be safe again. We would have largely, prayerfully have dealt with the COVID-19 virus, and that pandemic will be over, and you'll be able to hold in-person events again. I'd like you to do 4 more than you're already doing. I don't know how many you're doing. I want you to do 4 more. And this is 4 more over the year. So we're talking 1 extra one a quarter. And this could be 1 extra one that you do with another organization. This could be 1 extra one that you do with the dean, which certainly adds more verisimilitude to your organization when you have staff leadership basically lending their name and support and vouching for it. But I want you to do 4 more events. And I don't care what the events are. I want them to be good. I want them to be more. I want those events to be what you utilize for the public. I want you to interact more with the governing bodies around your campus. That's what you should use those extra 4 events for. Then I want you to identify 5 circle alum. I want you to go through and I want you to look at every major that you currently have in your circle. Look at every major, put them all together. And I want you to get those individuals to find 5 alum that they want to connect with. So you may need the help of your advisor. You may need the help of the national office, which I'm sure they are at your disposal. But we want to get you to get 5 more alum for each of your majors identified. And that will open up tons of opportunities for those students. It should be light work relatively because you'll have the people that are most invested in that major, identifying people that they want to talk to. Again, this goes back to self-invested capital. They'll want to do the work because that work will ultimately benefit them. That work benefiting them benefits the entire organization. Then I want you to identify identify 5 organizations on campus that you can partner with. This one should be a pretty quick and easy one. Figure out the groups that have some synergistic means with you. Figure out the groups that are like yours. Or if you want, figure out a group that's completely different, and make the point to show that there is still some way that you all can work together, even though you're diametrically opposed on whatever it is. But you can still find things that are important to work on, which is kind of a global, a global tenet of ODK. I'm finding that level of synergy between people. And then I want you to find, and this one is probably the most important one, may also be your most difficult, but find one alum, find one company, find one person, anything that will sponsor an award for you. You can name it after them. You can have them present it, a big check and all that stuff, whatever it is, whatever you got to do to entice them to do it. But if your school allows, I want you to find a person or an entity that will help you sponsor an award. And I want you to use that award to build your organization. So whether it is giving an award to the person that recruited the most people, whether it's giving an award to another entity that worked with you the best and you support their programs that way, whether it's giving an award to your highest achieving ODK circle member that year within your circle, whatever it is, agree on it, but do it, implement it, and find one of your alum that will financially support it. I remember college days, even though they swiftly passed, I remember how much money meant. And money went a long way on campus in a way that it just does not once you graduate. But I won't make you sad with those details. But like a $500 scholarship, meant a whole lot while I was in undergrad. And it's certainly something that even the younger professionals that are alum of your circles can probably contribute. So it's something that I really want you all to consider, because I think it's something that once you start advertising that, hey, ODK members get access to this potential scholarship, or entities that work with ODK get access to this scholarship or this grant. However you decide to frame it, once you are able to do it, I promise you your organization will grow, because people want to be a part of the successful things. They say success has many fathers, but failure is an orphan. So I certainly want you to define failure so you can achieve success. All right. Once you do all this, enjoy the empire. There is nothing better. I keep saying that phrase because it's so true, and I think so fondly to my collegiate days, but there is nothing like going to different parts of campus and knowing the people there, knowing that you have someone that's in some form of leadership in those places, someone who can give you the quote unquote VIP access, someone who can take you backstage, someone who can introduce you to other important players. There's nothing better than that when you're on campus. That's what the empire is about. That is what I want you all to enjoy, because that's what I got a chance to enjoy, and it really helped make my college experience that much more valuable to me. So I want you all to work with your circles. Again, this is your best opportunity to make genuine connections with people. For the rest of your life, once you graduate, you're more than likely going to be, considerably spending your time with individuals that you work with, and not a lot of time outside of that. There are so few professions now that have, organizational, entities above them that kind of cater to that profession. There are a few, but there aren't many that will allow you to get a chance to meet and greet other people. This is your chance. This is your excuse. This is your ability. You can utilize all of that so you can enjoy your empire that much more. I want you guys to make friends with every aspect of campus life. I want you to be friends with the student athletes. I want you to have a close relationship with the scholars. I want you to know everything that's going on in student government, not because you're a member of student government, assuming you're not, but because you have the friend that's the president or the vice president or one of the senators, because that person's close to you. I want you all to ultimately create your honor society that really truly looks more kind of just like kind of like a secret society. Kind of like one of those things where you get pinned. or tapped. That's what I want you all to have with your circles. I want your circles to be elite without being elitist. I want your circles to be able to get you into doors that you never thought of before. There's so many different paths on your college campus life, and I want you to be able to experience all of them. And I want you to have a friend with you in every place you go, even in places where there's only 2 people. I want you to have an ODK circle member there. All right, so I want you to make those genuine connections. I want you to engage with your circle. I want you to build your empire. But more than anything, I want you to rule that campus. I want everyone to be looking up to your ODK circle in perpetuity. I want your circle to be the paradigm. I want you to create the circle by which all other circles will be mentioned. All right, so I said that I was going to loop in Zach. I know Zach probably doesn't want to be looped in, but I'm looping him in anyway.
I love being looped in.
You're being looped in, Zach. Let's do this, man. I want to talk to you a little bit. I know we got a little bit of time. I want to talk to you about your advice. You've done recruiting on some of those highest companies, especially in the banking industry. First and foremost, can you tell us a little bit about yourself? And then I'm going to dive in. I got a couple questions for you that I think will really elucidate some of your good information that you got.
Yeah, certainly. I can give a 2-second introduction. I started a new position quite recently, but previously I was at Citibank, thank you, as a recruiting coordinator, and now I'm at a asset management firm that deals with the vertical in strictly Bitcoin. So we're constantly moving, we're moving quite fast, and it's quite an interesting endeavor. So that's where I am today.
All right, that's pretty cool. So I got a host of questions for you, completely unrelated to this topic. So I'll save them for later. But if you were giving advice to your circle, your circle now, what would it be that you've learned kind of now that you've become a professional and stuff? What would be that advice? Right.
Well, you say some really good points. When I was a student, I just thought, oh, it's ODK. It's, people are just going to come naturally. It's the best of the best. It's like the All-Star game or the NBA All-Star game, whatever it may be. But that's not the case. What you have to do is what you mentioned, is engage with other organizations, engage with student athletes, with fraternities and sororities, and speak with them. Get out of your comfort zone. That's what ODK is all about. Heck, right now, kind of we're out of our comfort zone, participating in a Zoom conference. That's kind of what it's all about, being part of ODK. So engage, what you said, engage, never stop, and then speak with people, whether it's at in the lunchroom or, in line, wherever you may be, and speak about ODK, spread the word, so you can recruit the top and the best of the best from sororities, fraternities, from the student athlete committees. That's what I would say. Always put on that recruiting hat.
Okay. All right, like they say, ABC, always be closing.
That's right.
So I got another question for you. What's your fondest memory from your days on college campus?
Oh, on college campus? Yes, certainly. And I can even relate it to ODK. My favorite part of college was participating in the meetings. And not just so meetings, it sounds a little bit more boring, but just kind of being with like-minded individuals from different cultural backgrounds. I could speak with a student athlete, I could speak with a sorority or fraternity member, and we could just talk about what's going on. And it's the conversation, I notice it's interesting in a way. It's more higher level. We get to speak about what's going on the campus, what's taking place that we can do better in terms of the organization. What can we push forward? So that's what I really liked, is how that higher level thinking, that quality conversation comes into place whenever I went to an ODK meeting. So.
Oh, nice. All right, one last question. I'm just thinking of it right now. All right, did you have any collegiate traditions that you can remember?
Collegiate traditions? Unfortunately not. We were quite new. We were about 2 months in, so we were establishing those collegiate traditions. One thing we had was the circle initiation, which was, as we all know, was an ODK tradition. But we were in the midst of establishing an ODK tradition where in terms of the recruiting function, which we always talk about, we were going to set up at the end of the semester, set up a booth, set up a table to recruit. So that was kind of our tradition, so to speak, that we passed on to the next class.
All right, nice. And see, this is the coolest thing about ODK, man. You are on the front line of some of these emerging technologies, emerging currencies and cryptocurrencies. Would you go back to your circle to give a presentation? Would you go back to teach them a little bit about Bitcoin and things of that nature?
Yeah, that would be great. That would be great, and that's kind of what I'm doing now. The circle of initiation was at Johnson Wales University in Providence, Rhode Island. So that's what I'm in a way doing now, participating in leadership seminars and resume review with the circle, kind of giving back. That's what it's all about.
See that? So for everyone listening, you got Zach here who's on the front line of some of the most innovative things happening in our time right now in our lives. And he is willing to help his circle. He's willing to probably help all circles if you all were interested. So this is the benefit that you have with ODK that is unlike any other organization. This is what you can enhance. This is what you can build on. And this is how you build that empire. So you can now continue to rule the campus and ultimately rule other aspects of your life, because now I get a chance to meet Zach. I meet Zach through ODK for the first time today. Now I got a friend that can teach me about Bitcoin and hopefully make me a millionaire. I don't ask for much, Zach.
That's right.
I don't know if we had any, I know we're using Event Mobi. I don't know if we had a lot of people use the chat feature. If not, that's cool. But certainly want to give everyone my info. If you are looking for a way to reach out to me for any reason, this is the easiest way to connect with me. And thank you all. Thank you all for your time. Thank you all for considering how you can change your circle to make it stronger, to make it more nimble, and to make it grow. You have the ability to truly make the circle that you want to see. Think about what you would enjoy 5 years from now, 10 years from now, 15 years from now. I want you to be able to start creating that now. So when you go back to your college campus, you can see traditions that are happening and think, we helped start that. Or you can see a scholarship that's named after you or after a friend of yours. And you can constantly engage with people who exclusively through your circle. I want you all to create those like but for experiences, like but for ODK, I wouldn't have been able to do this. And the more you can think of the experiences that you want 10 years down the line, the more you can focus on creating them right now. So build the empire, rule the campus. My name is GC Murray, and I thank you all for being with me today.